Hello, Taurus. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Cosmic Slumber Tarot by Tilly Walden. I feel like I keep forgetting the slumber part. I don't know why. The website is liminal11.com if you want to check it out. I'm glad I put the box on screen because I think I've been saying that wrong. It's the Cosmic Slumber. But anyway, supportive oracle cards, magical spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Illustrated by Jesse Reish. There's a website at the bottom too if you want to check it out. Feel free. It's an older deck, but still. Feel free to check out what you want to check out. What do we have for Taurus? We got some double cards coming up, which is not bad. Although I can't commit to it being good just yet. Well, we got some positive cards. Is it swords? It's swords energy. Okay. When I'm pulling this energy in, whoever you're dealing with, they're in a weird place with you. A weird place. In the sense of like, I don't think you dislike them, but I feel like I'm also, you're not comfortable with them either. It's kind of like, I feel like I'm looking at somebody and I don't understand if they're going to follow through with what they need to do, but I also, like, I don't feel like it's a malicious reason that they're not dependable. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like somebody's like a very, very busy parent. Like they have two full-time jobs, 3 kids, a spouse, and they got some other stuff going on. And it's kind of like they don't mean to let things slip through the cracks, but their life is so busy that it's kind of like, I understand that they're not super dependable. I mean, I don't know. The way their life is, I'm like, it's like, I feel like they need an overhaul with their whole life. I'm like, kind of like, I don't know how your life got where it is, but maybe you need to look at it and kind of like evaluate what you really need in it and kind of like bring it down a bit. I feel like that's how you're looking at them. Kind of like, I don't know how that got like that, but it makes them undependable. Like, usually they're pretty good, but they definitely drop the ball fairly regularly, but not so bad that it's like devastation, but it's kind of like definitely other people have to pick up the slack for them because they got too much going on. They're overworked. I feel like this is like that. If they're definitely overworked, there's too much going on, and it's kind of like I don't dislike them, but I'm like I don't feel like I can really trust them to do what they're supposed to. Again, not for a malicious reason, but just kind of like life is just out of balance with them. Way too much going on. I understand that they feel they have to live life that way, but I'm like, there has to be a better way than that. They're also, I would say, at least from the outside looking in on their life, they seem a little delusional, in my opinion. Kind of like they think everything is great and life is perfect and they love how it's going. And you're like, what? Like, you don't get things done like you're supposed to. Things are falling through the cracks. Other people have to pick up your errors, and you're just constantly running from one to the next. Like, how can that be? Well, they feel like they're stable and everything's perfect. Like, everything works exactly like it's supposed to be. And you're like, no, it doesn't. You're screwing up. Other people are picking up the pieces. What are you talking about? Outside looking in, I feel like it's kind of like they look like they're happy. They think everything's peachy keen, and you're like, no, you're all over the place, and you screwed things up. You're all over the place and you screwed things up. Like, no, you're not. It's not all great. They think everything's great. I feel like if you were to talk with them at the moment, just a random conversation, they would literally say that and believe it, and you would realize you really believe that. Like, you would just kind of stare at them like, you really, like, there's that mess over there, things in shambles over there, and that's your fault, but okay, sure, buddy, yeah. Right. Are you going to talk with this person? I mean, you obviously you'll do what you want, clearly. in a good way. In a good way. I feel like they came across sarcastic. I really do. You've got. I had to look at it because at first I thought they were fire, but they're not. They're communication. They're air. The colors on these cards sometimes throws me off because it looks like fire to me at first glance. Doesn't it? There's action coming from this. I still feel action. I still get those. The visual gives me action. It says they're swords. They have swords in their hand. That is communication, but I feel like you're taking action to kind of bring things together in a different way. I feel like I am, because certain things that they deal with, you deal with too, whoever this is. And I feel like you constantly have to double, maybe even triple check things in the sense of they're supposed to do a piece. Before you do what you need to do, you always have to go back and make sure it happened the way it was supposed to. And then you do what you need to do. And then if they add in randomly and just kind of oh, I helped out with that, you're like, oh, great. Because it's kind of now I have to go double check that part too, because who knows if they did that right. Not maliciously, but, it's not an enjoyable feeling to have somebody help you and then you feel like you have to double check everything they do anyway. It's kind of maybe it's just better if they just don't help. And maybe that's where this is going. Kind of whatever it is that they help you with, it's kind of you're not helping me. You're causing extra work for me. It's just easier if I just do it. And I feel like I'm trying to remove them. Maybe not from everything, but from a few major things. Kind of if this is something really important. I keep getting food prep for some reason. Kind of if this isn't prepared correctly, that people could get sick. So, and then I have to keep checking to make sure it was done right. Because I'm not going to make something and get people sick. Even if it's technically somebody else's fault, my hands are still touching it. I feel like I'm still responsible to make sure it's healthy for people to eat. I'm not going to get people sick. I'm kind of listen, how about you help that person over there? And I feel like I'm helping things move around. I'm creating change, definitely creating change, but I'm removing this person from certain processes. If I can't remove them totally, the things they're still connected to are not as critical. They're not as critical. They're just not as critical. Now, I know there's a lot of you are dealing with somebody at work like this. There's definitely many different ways. Family, friends, whatever you got going on, social connections. Maybe this is a child. Or maybe it's somebody you relate to as if they were a child. It's fine. You are making this a lot easier for you because kind of if something gets too busy and for some reason it moved forward before I was able to double, possibly triple check it, I don't want to feel oh, great, now are people going to get sick? I don't want to feel like that. So I'm well, if it's screwed up, it's still not okay, but it's not as critical. I keep using the word critical. They seem to be a little stressed at first, but I do feel like they're okay, we got to change it. All right, we got to change it. Yeah, okay, that's fine if that's what you want. They see this as a quick change. I feel like they're kind of but I'm used to doing things the way I want to do them. And I don't want to lose control of what I'm already good at. Oh, I hope they don't say that. Are they going to say that? Because I feel like I'm going to... Taurus is very strong in a very interesting way. A lot of times, not always, I know it's not always, but there's a very, there's a lot of strength behind your words. Taurus can say something in a very kind way, but a very impactful way. I feel like, take it with a grain of salt, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you can tell somebody to get bent, and it can sound really nice, but you can knock somebody out in a very nice way. Kind of very nicely tell somebody to get bent and devastate them. I don't know, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments, but if you have something to say, it impacts. Even though you say it very nicely, it impacts. Because I feel like you're letting somebody know, No, you don't do that well. No, you don't. Like, I know maybe, obviously you think so, but no, you don't. You don't do that well. And I can't pretend like you do. Not Capricorn. Taurus I think of Taurans as very nice people. I don't know where that came from, but for some reason I always have related to Taurans as very nice people. I'm a Pisces, though. I just like Taurans anyway. But when you have something to say, it comes across it just seems like it can come across very smooth, but like you could knock people out with a smile. Like, poof, with a smile. I swear, it just seems like it. I could be wrong. They want to continue to get along with you. When you say what you need to say, people know you mean what you say. On the outside, they get along with you. On the inside, I feel like they're bothered. And I feel like there's something, this is going to hold on. I feel like this person's feelings, I think it's impacting on them. This person may kind of disappear from your life after this. I don't know what to say about that. Like, I feel like they're embarrassed. So if this is a romantic relationship, because it could hit that way, it's a general read. It could be like you're telling somebody maybe you're romantically connected with them. They might start disconnecting from you after this. Because I feel like this to them it's very random. And it just it's very random. To them it's very random and it came out of nowhere. Which may be completely baffling to you, kind of like, well, how did that come out of nowhere? Like, I'm just telling them what they're doing, and it's obvious that I'm not happy with it. They haven't been paying attention. I just feel like they haven't been paying attention. To them, I'm not saying it is random, I'm saying to them it feels random. And they can't get over it. These two cards here comes in really quickly, they can't get over it, feels very random, with the Wheel of Fortune, to them. And I feel like they're going to start disconnecting because of it. They're going to start... So, for some of you, I feel like you're fine with it. It's just a heads up that this is where this is going. I feel like you're okay. Some of you. Just as long as you know that's where it's going, you'll plan accordingly, is what is. For others of you, if you don't want this person disconnecting, the way this has to go in, if you don't want this person disconnecting, you're just going to, when you notice them acting a little weird, you're going to have to create a conversation about it. You're not going to want to. It's going to be counterintuitive for you. It's kind of like, oh, I don't want to have this conversation right now. When you have that feeling, I don't want to have this conversation right now, that's when you got to have that conversation. Counterintuitive. Otherwise, I do feel like they're going to disconnect and they're going to slowly disappear from your life. How slowly is questionable, but I feel like for most of you, this person is going to leave your life at some point. And like, they may not be like physically gone, but like, for example, if this is somebody who you're related to, they're not even going to talk to you at family functions that much. I've seen this happen with other people. And now I'm like, it's just kind of clicking in. Like, I've known people when they were young, they were like, stuck together. And when they're older, they barely say two words to each other. Because they've gone distant, and one of them has at least decided that's how they want it and that's how they need it to be. So if that's okay with you, that's where this is going. I don't see you wanting this person to be on bad terms with you. You're not trying to make an enemy. And ironically, I don't feel like an enemy in the sense of like somebody's coming and like, oh, I can't wait to get even with with Taurus. Why am I saying Capricorn? You might be dealing with a Capricorn, which is possible. Usually Taurans get along with Capricorn, but I don't know. That's a very odd, well, I don't know. It kind of slipped out. If it connects to you, then it connects to you. If it doesn't, just ignore it. I don't feel like you want this person to look at you in a negative light. And it's not that they're looking at you in a negative light. I feel like they're embarrassed and they feel insecure, so they're just avoiding it. Whatever this outcome is, you seem to be fine. I feel like they're just trying to give you a heads up where this is going. This is where this is going. again, you seem to be fine. This is like my favorite card in the tarot deck, the Sun card. That's the best possible outcome. Maybe it's just making peace with this, because I feel like for some of you, maybe this is a kid, maybe this is a child, and they're just going to become more and more distant. Nothing is bad, they're just going to become more and more distant. And I feel like I don't know what's going on in this person's life going forward. I rarely see them. I get maybe I get second-hand, third-hand updates about what's going on in their life. Everybody seems to be fine. It's just, I don't know. They're just giving you a heads up about where this seems to be going naturally. If you want to counteract that, again, when you have those feelings like, oh, I don't want to talk about this right now, is literally when you need to talk about it. And then try to work out what's going on here. There are possibilities here, but they're just saying this is where this energy is naturally going. There's where your possibilities lie. You decide what's right for you. Okay. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you again for watching, and have a great day.